Uh-huh.
Okay, so retention. Getting them in is probably the easy part. Keeping them around is the hard part. And so to keep them around, you need to get them in the mindset that they're not paying for classes. They're not paying to just be like part of the gym. It's not that kind of membership. They're paying for like a professional relationship with their coach. So they should be able to have constant contact, like weekly contact. You should know what they're doing before they do it. You should have an idea of where they're going, how they're doing it, what's going on in their lives, what their wives and children's names are. Anything that's happening in their lives, the coach should be aware of. And so this eliminates the awkward conversation when all of a sudden you get an email like, hey, I want to cancel. And then the coach has no idea. So if you're in consistent contact with them, you'll know this is going to happen before it happens. You'll be able to convince them and talk to them and work around it. And so what we do with retention and referral, so you have your clients, they come in after after our fundamentals program, they'll graduate, they'll go into their group classes, and then at that point you either do the first class with them or you show up to their first class. So their first class, I usually show up and I would say, hey everybody, this is Dave Johnson, and he's a Capricorn, and he likes long walks on the beach. And so that became a running joke in the gym. Everybody was a Capricorn and likes long walks on the beach. But that was a cool way to kind of get them into classes, introduce them, break the ice a little bit, and then show that it's not like a crazy person environment where you can't talk. So be the coach who make it your own style. Like walk in, introduce them to the class. You can do the class with them if you're available. If you're not, just walk in, introduce them, and just be there. Be present during that class. Just so that way they feel pretty comfortable. You can introduce them to whoever's coaching that class. For us, they probably already know. I start doing their last set of fundamentals at the same time as those classes if I can, because that way they're already going to know who the people are in the community. They're already going to have an idea of what they're doing, and the people are going to make friends with them. So they're going to be like, hey, when are you coming to classes? And they'll already be talking to these people. So that's your kind of first phase of transition. Then they're going to go into group memberships. The first 3 months are critical because that's when they're going to drop off the face of the earth and never come back. So the first 3 months, I would have weekly follow-ups with them. It doesn't mean you have to meet with them and sit down. It just means like you're texting them after class. You're texting them on Friday like, hey, how'd your week go? How was your workouts? Any questions? What's going on? And then you're talking to them about that. When they leave class, you see them like, hey, how was class? What's going on with you? You're constantly engaging in conversation with them. And that keeps them feeling like connected to you. You're asking questions about their lives, their kids, their family, what's going on. You're developing an understanding of where they're at, both personally and in the gym. So if you do this weekly for like their first 3 months, you know everything about those people. You know what they're doing. You know what's going on in their lives. You know if they're moving. You know if they're like not happy. You know if they tweak something. You're aware and you're always present. And so that's the big thing. Like you'll see me sometimes, I wander off and I'm talking to someone for like 10 minutes. That's getting an idea of what they're doing, what their lives are all about, what's going on. And we're doing it because we actually care about them, not just because it's a dollar sign or anything. You're building that relationship. And if you let it go a week without talking to them and that turns into 2 weeks, you're never going to hear from them again. They're going to be gone, especially in their first 3 months. They will 9 times out of 10, they're never coming back if you haven't heard from them or seen them in 2 weeks. And they're going to come back with you with something like, blah, blah, like, I moved away, or I got a new job, or I can't afford it anymore, or something, when they already spent a lot of money for fundamentals and all that, and they can't afford it. They're just trying to find a way out because they haven't been present, and they don't feel that connection to you at that point. So every week, their first 3 months, it has to be some sort of follow-up. It can be a text message, it can be an email, a phone call, whatever they prefer. I always like text because it's easy. You can just go back and forth real quick. Everybody reads text messages. Not as many people read emails. And then after their first 3 months, you can follow up with them like once. You can still do weekly if you want. Once you have a big client book, it's hard. You'll always be texting. Follow up at least once every 14 days after the first 3 months. Because at that point, you probably already had one of your one-on-one sessions with them. So you already you got to sit down and talk with them. You've been following up weekly. Now you can go in every 2 weeks. You're still present, but you don't have to do as much. And so at this point, they're going to be still pretty attached to you. You still know what they're doing, who they are, everything. And you'll get an idea of the type of person it is too. So after the first 3, you'll know I know I need to follow up with this person every week because they still need me. They're still asking a lot of questions. Or you'll be like, well, I get shorter answers now. They're pretty comfortable. They're pretty happy. They're engaging in the community. They come to all our parties. They're pretty pumped. So now I can follow up once every 2 weeks. And this is the big thing on this, though. If they're not in the gym for a week, that's an immediate red flag. So you have to be like, if you're not in classes and stuff, you have to be checking attendance. You have to be asking the coaches who are coaching those classes, was this person in this class? Were my clients in this class? You're checking the whiteboard. Like, were they there? Did they check in? And if you don't see them for a consistent 5 to 7 days, you're going to lose them. So you have to follow up immediately within that first week. If they're not there, it's a text message. Usually you'll get a response right away from that, like, oh yeah, I had to travel for a week. I'm dying. I can't wait to get back in the gym. Or you'll get something, yeah, I've been feeling really down and I didn't want to come in and hang out. And that's when you kind of pull those pain points out at that point. So it's like, it's either I was busy and I'll be in on Monday, or I'm just feeling down and I don't feel really good about things right now. That's when, like, if you hear that, that sucks to hear. I totally understand that everybody has ups and downs. Let's schedule a one-on-one and talk about it. I kind of want to get an idea where you're at, and maybe we can work on something to make it better.
Yep. Use a one-on-one, definitely, if they haven't been, and get them back on track.
So Infusionsoft has a notes tab. Mm-hmm. So when you do a session with a client, you can go in notes and you can put fundamental session 1, put the date, put the notes, or not fundamentals.
Oh, okay.
PT session 1 or whatever. Put the notes, what happened in that session, and then save it, and it'll be on their profile.
And then that's where you can be like, oh, they're on this kind of membership. Mm-hmm. They have this many PT.
Yeah. The other thing you can do too, like note taking, so you're always aware of what they're doing, which is important when you have a big book of clients, is when you get those text messages back, you can put Infusionsoft notes. Text them this week, put the date, this is the response, this is how I followed up. Then you always can go back and refer to what you were doing and what's going on. Or if they walk in and they're like, man, I was skiing and I really tweaked my hip. You put that in notes in Infusionsoft. Then you talk to them about how you can fix it. That's another thing. Schedule a one-on-one. Give them recommendations to whoever we need them to go to get help. If we can't give them 100% of the help. So the idea behind all of this is you're in constant contact. You're always aware of what's going on in their lives. And you're literally there for them to manage their health and wellness.
What, AJ?